BBC Essex.
I'm Rob Gillian for Helen Scott this evening, and that Oasis track is on its way. But first, our first upload this evening is a poet and a spoken word artist from Witham. His name is Ben James, and we'll catch up with Ben in a bit. He's also in a band as well, so we could write, we could talk about music too, but we'll talk about what he's uploaded for us. It's a poem called 16-Year-Old Self. Very creative, very relatable as well. I think we'll all have a moment of reflection on this one. And we'll have a chat with Ben more about it in a moment, but first let me play it for you. This is Ben James, 16-Year-Old Self.
It's my 16-year-old self, a subject matter that is highly coveted by so many musicians, poets, public speakers. Yet still at the humbling age of 25, I still find myself in abundance of weakness. There are days that I will wake and ask myself if things are going to be okay. And they are. They will be. See, as silly as it sounds, I see myself as some sort of oak tree. My roots are deeply embedded in this earth, and I stand firm for the things that I most believe. Each leaf is an element of my personality, each acorn an attribute to my self-esteem. And there could be days, weeks, and even months that I feel as though I am in the winter of my confidence. Each leaf is shed and I feel as though you can see all of my cracks. Each acorn is left and I feel as though I have nothing to provide. See, what's ironic is when I was 16, I felt as though I took life in my stride. I would look people in the eye, I spoke my mind, gave two shiny shillings on what people thought of me, made a stand for my opinions, and I stood there with pride. Now it's all too complex. Now I have a job to keep, a boss to impress, opinions to set, thoughts to suppress, and a whole new level of risks to assess. Like, should I climb that tree? And that's not because I lack the ability, but because I am in fear of breaking my neck. See, when I was young, I would climb the highest trees until the air would grow thin. I would climb to the highest heights that I would hear fee, fi, fo, fum whisper in the wind. As children, we are forced to be adventurous, to go and explore. But it's not long before those games turn into chores, and we are taught that by doing the things we hate, a payment will be our reward. So it's no wonder why as adults we have lost sight on what ignites our thoughts. We are asked by our parents, our teachers, our career advisors what it is that we wish to be. And any answer is applicable, so long as it's not a dream. You tell them that you wish to be an actor, or a dancer, or a poet. They'll tell you to make that plan B. Choose something more realistic, something that you can achieve. Who are you to tell me that my dreams are so far out of reach? So to my 16-year-old self, I will not bore you with the cliches of ignore the bullies and be comfortable in your skin. If ever you fall, then pick yourself up, dust yourself down and try again. But what I will do is ask of you this one thing. Be kind to yourself. Because with the coming of age and the responsibilities that you gain, it does not mean that as an individual you have changed. Reacting differently now to when you were 16 merely means that you were at a different stage. See, being 16 isn't hard. Now is where I feel I should be brave. But with each new day we are given a blank canvas and a shed load of paint. And you are able to create your masterpiece, and it doesn't have to be a Picasso, a Da Vinci or a Monet. You are free to be exactly who you want to be. Being yourself is the greatest thing you can create.
How good is that? His name is Ben James, and he's with me this evening. How you doing, Ben?
Hello, mate. I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. I'm even better now I've heard that again today.
Bless you. You're too kind.
No, I mean it. It's so clever. There's so many layers to it, and I don't even know where to start with it, really. But I'll find out a bit more about you, Ben, if I can. I said that you're a writer of poems and such. You're also in a band too. How often do the worlds collide for you?
To be fair, kind of simultaneously. To be fair, they kind of run in tandem with each other. I feel I'm kind of more drawn towards music, but at the same time, the poetry world is still kind of new to me. if that makes any sense. Like, it's always been something that I've tried to inject within music and stuff like that, but the actual spoken word element to it is still fairly new. If that makes any sense. I think I've kind of just rambled then.
If you're new to spoken word and that's what you're producing already, I can't wait to see what you do in 5 years' time, honestly.
Bless your heart. Thank you so much, man.
It's so clever. There were so many little moments in it, even like, the... a shed load and the reference to the shilling, where you sort of think, oh, he's going to swear here, he's going to drop the S-bomb, and it's so clever. Even if, like, for a brief second your mind wanders while you're listening to it, maybe you kind of hear the waves and you suddenly start visualising the coastline, or a beach maybe up in Clacton or down South End way, whatever. You immediately say that word and it's a trigger to go, oh, pay attention, he might swear next. But it draws you straight back in, and for the whole duration of that 3 minutes and 46 seconds, you're always moving, as a listener. So it's genuinely very, very good. When you wrote it, did you write the words first and then add music afterwards, or did it come the other way around?
Very much so. It was. I wrote the. Really randomly, and again, a lot of my writing process, not writing process, but like just in general with things, it tends to happen in stages. More so when I've attempted to write spoken word poetry, I tend to come up with the odd few lines, and then we'll sort of come away from it, and then it will be a case of for as random as it's I could be in the shower, and then the next couple of lines will happen, and so on and so forth, and then it just sort of snowballed. And then, it was a case of that I was really fortunate enough that I went for a stage where I was able to, that I was performing these in places. And then, it was very much like you said. I then just decided to add music to it, just to sort of, to try and maintain or try and make it a little bit more exciting, maybe. But again, I don't know if that's my own sort of hang-ups with the fact that I've normally done music, if that makes sense. So
you fell on a bit of a safety net a little bit. You kind of thought, I know what I know with music, and maybe if I add a bit of that, I'll feel a bit safer with communicating the message that you've written 100%. With the words. Yeah,
100. I mean, that was the thing, again, because I kind of got into it very, very naively. To be honest, like I say, where I've always done music, and then some of the musicians that I'm into that do spoken word, and I was a little bit like, I've always, when it comes to doing anything creative, I've always been a little bit like, I'll give that a go.
By chance, I've got to jump. By chance, are you influenced by Scroobius Pip?
I do like Scroobius Pip. Him. I do really like him. My biggest influence was a guy called Watsky. Who's an American guy, and it was him that sort of kind of opened the floodgates for me, and I was just so drawn to his stuff, and I was a little bit like, I might take some of the ingredients of that and try and do it myself.
I think you should. I think you should do more of it as well, Ben. I don't mind what anyone else thinks. I want you to do more, and I also I'm really intrigued. I want to let people know where they can find you and more of your work and such online. But I want to ask a favour. If you haven't already done so, will you mix a version without the music?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
I really want to hear it, and I really want to. I loved what you did, because you were so aware of not overpowering what you were trying to say. But I also want to strip all of that away. I also want to hear it completely without. Definitely. Like there's a I don't know. That's what I want you to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, it's really lovely to hear, because again, I think like I was saying before, I think it's a case of it's my own personal hang-ups. So I say it's really quite confident building to hear you say something like that. It's really sweet, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem at all.
Definitely do that.
Ben, where can we find you online to keep an eye on you and your work as we go forward?
I've got I suppose the best point of call, I've got a website, which is just itsbenjames.com.
Itsbenjames.com, simple as that.
Yeah, itsbenjames.com. And then I suppose and again, to be fair, every one of my social networks is It's Ben James. But through that website, I'm sure you'll be able to find anything and everything that you want to, if people wanted to.
I'm sure they will, Ben. I have no doubt about it. Listen, thank you for coming on part of the show. Thanks for your upload as well. And I look forward to hearing more from you in the future. If you don't have a great studio like that, but you're a spoken word poet, or maybe you just write poetry, record it on a voice note on your phone and upload it to the page. It doesn't have to be studio quality. You haven't got to have access to that sort of stuff. We have no problem with that.